Book of Philippians chapter 4, Paul begins this series of discourse by saying, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say what? Rejoice. And you see, when I read this thing, and I began in verse 4, even though my emphasis was in verse 6, in everything by prayer. In everything by prayer. He says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer. It seemed to me like there was a flow. That's the way it seemed to me. Because in verse 4 he says, rejoice in the Lord always. Again I will say, rejoice. Then he goes to verse 5. He now says, let your gentleness be known to all men. What happened? The Lord is at hand. Then he now goes to verse 6. He now says, be anxious for nothing. Are you with me? So it seems to me, when I'm reading this verse of scripture, this portion of scripture, that Paul wants to teach his people, the Philippian church, how to maintain consistency in prayer. But he begins all the way in verse 4 by talking about joy. If you can keep your joy in the Lord, you will have an eternal perspective that will regulate how you live. And that regulation will be evidenced in what? Moderation. Are you with me? Now, if you now live such a life of moderation